the Red Sea divided. Pharaoh's army swallowed up and 600,000 Israelites delivered from slavery in Egypt. That's what we're looking at in today's episode. Let's go back to the basics and tell this epic story for a new generation. Once upon a time in a land far away, nestled between the borders of Egypt and Canaan, lived a group of people called the children of Israel. They were not just any ordinary people. Oh no! They were descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And God had promised them that they would become a great nation if they would only trust Him. Now, God had been very good to these people over the years, but right now, things were not going so well for them. For 400 years they had lived in Egypt, working hard as slaves, making bricks without straw, and suffering all kinds of mistreatment. It was not a happy life, but then God raised up a leader for His people named Moses. One day while Moses was tending sheep, he saw a bush that was on fire, but it wasn't just any bush. It was a burning bush that didn't burn up. So Moses went over to investigate, and God spoke to him from inside the bush. "Moses," God said,
"I have heard the cries of my people. I know how much they're suffering.
"I want you to go to Pharaoh and tell him to let my people go so they can worship me." But Moses wasn't too sure about this plan. "No, God, I don't think I'm the right guy for this job. I'm slow with words." "What if Pharaoh doesn't listen to me?" God replied. "I will help you speak. I will be with you." And God made it happen. So Moses went to Pharaoh and told him, "Let my people go and worship me." But Pharaoh didn't like this idea at all. In fact, he got really angry and said, "No, they're not going anywhere. They're going to stay here and work as slaves forever." And that's exactly what happened. Pharaoh made the slaves work even harder than before, and he ordered his soldiers to kill every baby boy that was born. But God took care of His people. He helped a Hebrew woman named Shiphrah hide her baby boy named Moses, and he grew up in the palace of Egypt. Now, because of God's help, Moses became the leader of Egypt, Pharaoh's son-in-law, and he still had a close relationship with God. And when Moses was around 40 years old, God told him to go back to Egypt because the time had come for him to lead the people of Israel out of slavery. But when Moses shared God's message with Pharaoh, guess what happened? Pharaoh wouldn't budge. He told Moses to leave his court and never come back. So Moses left, along with his brother Aaron and a bunch of other leaders. They met by the mountain of God where Moses received instructions about how to lead the people of Israel out of Egypt. They were all excited until they realized that standing between them and their freedom was the mighty Red Sea. The water stretched as far as they could see, and there was no way to cross it. There were no bridges or boats or anything. To make matters worse, Pharaoh had changed his mind. He wanted the slaves back. And behind them, the Egyptian soldiers were thundering closer. The people of Israel were terrified. They cried out, "Why did you bring us here to die? We would have been better off staying in Egypt as slaves than dying here in the desert. Why did you bring us here, Moses?" But Moses lifted his staff high and said, "Don't be afraid. Stand firm and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Lord will fight for you while you stay put." Then something incredible happened. A strong wind started to roar. The sea trembled, and the water began to split apart. It rose up like towering walls on both sides, creating a dry path in the middle of the ocean. As the people looked on in awe, Moses continued to stretch out his staff over the sea, and when he did, the waters parted. With trembling legs, the people stepped forward, walking through the heart of the sea. Moses led the way, followed by Aaron, then the Levites carrying the Ark of the Covenant, which symbolized God's presence. After them came the rest of the people. Women, men, and children all walked safely through the dry seabed. They sang songs of praise to God and shouted joyfully, "The Lord is my strength and my defense. He has become my salvation." Pharaoh and his army watched in disbelief as the Israelites crossed the sea on dry ground. When the last Israelite had crossed to the other side, Moses raised his staff again. The waters crashed down with unstoppable force, swallowing the enemy. The Egyptians screamed as the water level rose around them, but no one escaped. Not one soldier, not one chariot, not even Pharaoh's finest horses. They all disappeared beneath the waves. When the water receded, the shore was empty. Not a single trace of the Egyptian army could be found. Only the wreckage of their chariots littered the beach. a reminder of their defeat. The people of Israel stood there watching in amazement as the waters closed over the pursuing army. Then a great silence fell over the camp. After a while, someone broke the silence and began to sing a song of victory. The Lord is my strength and my defense. He has become my salvation. He is my God, and I will praise him, my Father's God, and I will extol him. Soon, everyone was singing and dancing. Men, women, and children joined together in joyful celebration. Their voices echoed across the desert, reaching all the way to the heavens. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of orange and purple, the people continued to celebrate. They made camp beside the sea, and a great feast was prepared. There were roasted lamb, unleavened bread, and bitter herbs. All these foods symbolized the suffering they had endured in Egypt. But now their bitterness had turned to joy, and their suffering had come to an end. In the flickering light of their campfires, the people told stories of God's mighty power. They talked about how he had saved them from slavery, how he had led them through the wilderness, and how he had defeated their enemies. Each story was more amazing than the last, and the people couldn't stop talking about it. Meanwhile, Moses climbed up to the top of a nearby hill. From there, he could see the vast desert around him and the sparkling Red Sea stretching out to the horizon. As he looked out over the camp, he saw the people celebrating, and his heart swelled with gratitude. Just a few days ago, they had been trapped between the Red Sea and Pharaoh's army, with no hope of escape. But God had intervened, and now they were free. Moses knew that this was only the beginning. They still had a long journey ahead of them to reach the Promised Land. But he also knew that with God on their side, they would be able to overcome any obstacle. As the stars twinkled above him, Moses raised his hands toward heaven and praised God. "Oh Lord, you have been so good to us. You have delivered us from our enemies. Now help us to follow you with all our hearts. Guide our steps and protect us as we travel through the wilderness." And so the people of Israel camped beside the sea, celebrating their deliverance and praising God for his mighty power. They knew that they had witnessed something truly amazing, something that would be told for generations to come. The Red Sea had been divided, and they had walked through it on dry ground. It was a miracle that showed the world the power of their God. This is the God who makes a way when there is no way, the God who turns fear into faith and impossible walls into paths of freedom. Trust him and watch the seas in your life open before you. Thanks for watching. If you want to watch another episode from the series, click here. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. See you soon!